Hi, it's Amanda here from Suddenly Autistic, and in this video I just want to talk to you a little bit about it's a reflection on a kind of group therapy session or course really that I'm a part of at the moment to help me with the problems I have, with some of the problems I have with being autistic. But the course that I'm going on it covers a therapy called DBT, dialectic behavioural therapy, and doing it in a group setting really highlights how being autistic is different to not being autistic. Anyway, that's what I'm going to talk about. And before I talk about that, I just want to note my beautiful t-shirt, which is from Mount Vic and Me. So Mount Vic and Me is a company here in the Blue Mountains, make political t-shirts and tea towels and greetings cards and socks. And they also make things like this, which is really cool, and yeah, lots of other really cool stuff. So political feminist art, I think. This isn't necessarily feminist unless, I don't know, is that feminist? Who knows? But it's kind of cool, and that's what I'm put on. Sorry if I'm distracted a bit, I'm in my garden and I'm drinking a cup of tea. Anyway, so on the weekend I was part of a group therapy course. I was, you know, it highlighted that DBT, dialectic behavioural therapy, would be something good for me, and it's what my therapist is working. You know, that skill box set is something that I'm trying to learn with my therapist in a one-on-one scenario, but I've also got this opportunity to be part of a group where dialectic behavioural therapy is part, or learning about it and learning some of the skills in it are part of that course. So anyway, in one-on-one therapy, it's really quite cool. I found this DBT, which is all about mindfulness, interpersonal effectiveness, distress tolerance and emotional regulation. So I found that learning about that and exploring those things with my therapist on a one-on-one basis, you know, taking into consideration my personal history, the struggles that I've had that are personal to me, but also my autistic mind and my ADHD, it's been very helpful so far. Group therapy is a bit of a different thing. So this isn't necessarily, it wasn't actually a group therapy, it was a group course. It's part of a course that I'm doing. But what it has highlighted to me is let me take a step back. Being someone who's diagnosed late, so I'm now 47 and I was diagnosed at 46 not so long ago. I only recently had my birthday, so less than a year ago I've got my diagnosis. So that means that for the vast majority of my life, and probably the bulk of my whole life, unless I live to some weird old age, I wouldn't have known I was autistic. So I've tried to just get by and exist thinking that, you know, there's something weird about me, but I don't know what it is. So it's always surprising to me to go into a group situation, whatever the group is, and realise just how different I am. Because for many, many years I've had to just exist, and I've put some of the differences down to me just being a bit quirky or a bit odd or a bit fixated on certain things, or to the fact that all of us are different, we're all unique and beautiful, you know, that kind of thing, and that everyone struggles, they don't all show it, and that, you know, they might be good at that but they're not good at that, you know, or I might be just gifted and talented in that area but I suck at this, you know. So I've tried to rationalize it. So in this group dynamic on Zoom, so we could see most of the people's screens, we all had our cameras on, and we're learning amongst other things about this DBT, which includes, you know, talking about mindfulness and interpersonal effectiveness, distress tolerance and emotional regulation. I'm starting to realise, A, just how overwhelming it is to be in that situation all day. So it was an all-day course, and it went for 2 days. So other people's emotional responses I was finding overwhelming. And the other thing is just how much I'm on a different page to other people. Now my example I want to, and when I say to other people, not everybody, obviously the other autistic people in the group, which I didn't know, I didn't even think about it, but there were other autistic people in the group. We just didn't really, it wasn't really about that as such, because you've got people on here with lots of different, who've come for lots of different reasons, so it wasn't so important for us to go over our own personal histories at that point. We were learning more of these skills. Anyway, so at the end of the course I found out there were some more autistic people, but we didn't really have a lot of time to chat, so I was just bubbling away, not really thinking about it. But every so often we had a little break for mindfulness activities. Being as though this is mindfulness is part of DBT, DBT, it made sense. What I found in the mindfulness activities was that I became aware that I was desperate for a pee and that I needed to go to the toilet, so I couldn't really be mindful when all I could think about was going to the loo, so I'd literally have to run off and do that each time we had this activity. And it was quite interesting to me that I hadn't even noticed that I needed to go to the toilet before that point, because I'd switched that side of my brain off, I think. The other thing that I found interesting is when it came to one activity in particular, I just didn't get it at all. So as a group we did this mindfulness activity where it was kind of like a laughing exercise. So you get up from your chair, because we've all sat down for a while, you jiggle around a bit and you start laughing and clapping to a, you know, we're just doing this in all together, everyone's laughing and everyone's clapping, and the laughter is, you know, releases endorphins apparently and all of this stuff. Now this started to happen, and I understand laughter, and I do like to laugh, I like to joke, it's one of my coping mechanisms with life, and I'm quite happy dancing. I don't find doing strange things in front of a camera where lots of people are watching at all distressing. It doesn't worry me. But there was something about this activity that I just found bemusing. And anyway, I caught myself looking at the screen with all the people on it like this. That's how I looked. Completely like, I don't know what's going on. What the hell is this? You know, I wasn't laughing at other people or going, wow, you're an idiot. It wasn't a judgment thing. It was literally a non-comprehension. Now, interestingly enough, after this activity, there was a lot of feedback about how great it was and how much it made them feel lighter and better, and oh, it's such a heavy topic, and that really made me feel better. It didn't do that for me. It made me feel the weight of my difference. And that was through nobody's fault. I don't feel like, you know, oh, the autistic people should have left the room and you know, got to cuddle a teddy bear or something. I don't think that. It was just, it not only didn't do anything for me, it was an overwhelming sensory experience to hear everybody else's noise at the same time and see the screens at the same time. Now I did move away and didn't look at the screen the whole time, but even so, it just struck me as yet another, for me personally, it felt like yet another time when everybody else is on the page and I'm not even, I don't even have a page, I'm not even open the book, I'm somewhere completely different. So that sort of, that's what I wanted to talk about, because sometimes I don't forget I'm autistic. I know now, and I appreciate it, and I'm happy with it, and I know that that's me, and that's what makes me me. But sometimes I do forget just how isolating that can feel. Now, I do like my own company. I am a loner, and I'm happy to be alone, and often I'll choose to be alone and do things, you know, on my own, or really manage my social interactions. But there's something about being in a group and feeling alone that is very different. It's quite obviously isolating. It's almost like drawing a circle around yourself and putting yourself, you know, way over there and going, you're quite different to these people, you know, these are all humans, but you're not, yeah, you don't quite have that. So that's kind of how it felt. Now, that doesn't mean that the course wasn't useful. It was. There's lots in it, and I'm sure that I'll make other videos about some of these things. The interpersonal effectiveness is very important, a very important part, I think, of the DB dialectical behavioural therapy for me, because I don't always understand people. And another thing that the course brought up for me is when other people were sharing some of their emotional responses, was that other people's emotions are overwhelming for me and often unrelatable, or relatable but not personally relatable, like, so intellectually relatable but not personally relatable. Like, what makes other people worried, anxious, ashamed, whatever, or gives them their problems is usually not what gives me my problems. I have a very different, I'm always out of step with the majority of others. And I say the majority because that's how it is. It's not everyone and me. The majority and me and people like me. So that's what I wanted to say today. I wanted to introduce the idea that this DBT, dialectical behaviour therapy, is something that I'm finding on the whole is very useful, it's very good, because it's teaching me about emotions and other people and interpersonal skills. But I guess it's more of a reflection on group exercises and group therapies and group activities. These are the things that make groups less attractive for me. I generally do persist, and I will persist with this. We've got another round, but I don't necessarily get that warm, fuzzy, we're all in this together feeling from a group activity, because I'm in the minority and most people's experiences and thought processes are not aligned to mine. And you know, that's fine. That's fine. It's actually a good thing to experience in life, to be in minority, especially when you don't present as a minority and you're not a minority in other ways. So it's quite a gift that way. But what I'm hoping to do next time is maybe to have some opportunity to speak to the other autistic people in the group, and maybe we can learn, you know, we can discuss things like mindfulness and what works for us, and interpersonal effectiveness in relationship, emotional regulation. Maybe we can discuss that together, because we will have a much more similar framework, even though we'll all be different, but we'll be at least coming from that autistic difference, which I think will make the thing a whole lot better. So that's what I'm hoping for next time. So I'll leave you now with my beautiful t-shirt, my cup of tea, which I'm still going to drink, and those thoughts. Yeah, thank you.